Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. Here's your morning sage or your sage for the week. Let it take away any thoughts that you need removed. And let me tell you, today I was talking with our two guests from Bridging the Current, and already my perspective has come to new enlightenment. So I know you're going to enjoy today's show. So please share this video out, especially if you're on YouTube or Facebook, and we appreciate that you're sharing it and clicking the link and all those housekeeping kind of things. But I really want to get into the show. Kat Bendure has been our friend for too many years, haven't you, Kat? I mean,
yes, I have, and enjoyed all of them.
She's enjoyed all of them, and I really appreciate that because she was there before I even knew how to be his psychic or anything. I was learning to read the Akashic records where Rhonda met me and Bex, and then that's where we met Kat, and it was most exciting. But Kat, you have somebody new to bring us. And
I
so
do.
I'd like to welcome Kat and Angie to our show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you say that because I also was totally learning. We were all learning together. I had no clue.
Yeah, you remember those days, our meetings that we had? It was a lot of fun with Emily guiding us, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, so you two, what I've noticed is you two have an amazing way of bringing extreme opposites together to make a positive new thing and that goes for the burst. I'm getting a feeling of like a blooming flower with all sorts of perfume coming. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting. Tell us how you guys met and what is this mix?
That is such a beautiful description, and I mean, right on. Angie and I met last year, and at a retreat, and I mean, I'll be honest, like I enjoyed her, absolutely had fun with her, but I had no idea we were going to be doing this together. 2 thumbs up.
Which way?
I thought she was amazing, but like not as amazing as I do now. I had no idea we were going to be doing this together, and we didn't really talk much after that. We scheduled a phone call the end of February to get to know each other better. And the way I will describe it, I'll be curious to hear what she says. The way I will describe it is the entire universe opened up, and we were channeling information through like crazy. And we're on that phone call for somewhere between 3 to 5 hours. Wow. That was a Monday. And we have ended up on the phone every day, Monday through Friday, since that day. And within 1 week, we were talking about starting a company together, creating a new endeavor together. And that was done by week 2. It was really something to experience.
Wow.
That's amazing.
How did you experience that, Ange?
I guess in hindsight, for me, it was kind of like poetry in motion. Like that's the only way I could really describe it. There was something, it was kismet, and it was aligned, and it was imperfection. I mean, as she said, we had met and didn't speak for 6 months. It was kind of like floating around each other, but never really connecting. And when we connected, I mean, so much came through. She has this beautiful gift and has opened me up. I really can't describe in words, but the fullness with which I feel as my own independent being in her presence is just, it's palpable for me. And it's only been, another 6 months, I guess. Like I can't imagine what this will be like in a couple of years' time. So it was destiny, and it was poetry in motion.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. Especially when we think of all the energies involved in bringing you two together. You know, your guides working and everything is like, okay, we got the seed planted today. Let's wait
Mhm.
6 months or whatever. You know what I mean? Imagine all that.
Yeah, totally and completely. I mean, I will say with 100% certainty, we've done this before in other lifetimes. We've done this kind of work together before. And all of this was predestined. I don't know why I needed 55 years to get to this place, but I could have used her a lot sooner. But riding on what Angie said, what I think is so cool about this, and I've never partnered with anybody before. You guys have had this lovely partnership for years now, and this is my first real experience in a really meaningful way of that. And it is, Teresa, what you said at the beginning about the polarity is totally true. Like, I'm always over here and she's always over here, and I don't always understand. My perspective has broadened, and there have been lots of sharing and exercises that we've engaged in to sort of open up the fullness of the spectrum for both of us. And that's really what's happened is the things that are her native genius areas that she just embodies completely and understands in a different way, right? Those things have opened up and become accessible for me as well. And, and when that happens for two people on the spectrum, I feel like everything in the middle starts to open up too. And it creates a space where we can, in the work that we do with others, we can better see the specifics, like the fullness, all the details of the thing that will be the most helpful for the person. Whereas it's just illuminated differently. To be able to tailor, I guess that's what it is, to be able to tailor the thing so that it has a more comfortable, is what I would say, more comfortable impact. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely does.
Yeah,
I think it's it's the fullness of the experience of you two together. It's filling in the gaps within each other. Helping to be able to support each other in those ways to illuminate things that maybe haven't been seen before. It's a very supportive, and it's perfect alignment when you show up together and everything starts to just unravel and unfold in such a beautiful, just soulful way. You can't deny the connection you two have and how you're able to really honor that the way that you do and show up for others.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I
just,
see?
yeah.
You guys are bringing in 7th through 9th dimensional healing energy. And this is especially from your guys' other lifetimes where you have done this work. Not all your work is here 3D. A
Yeah.
lot of the work that you do is outside the 3D, and that's really where the natural realm is. And you guys anchor these higher energies for now. And then there's that spread out, the ripple that's going to take a little time to get to everyone. But your business model, the way you guys are relating to each other, that's high dimensional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys set the template for a lot of us.
So now that we've talked about this, we've kind of danced around it, but what is it that you two are doing together?
Ange, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Well, I'm just going to share like a little snippet. We have come up with like a vision, purpose, mission. Our company is actually called Current. And so it's really specifically bridging what's been with what's possible now and next. We are kind of in a different time and space that's incredibly exciting because we are creating with a new energy sequence that's available to us here and now. And that means the possibilities, while they've always been unlimited, they're accessible in a different and unique path. And our vision, I just want to put it out there because I love our vision so much. It really is to change the focus of humanity. And that can obviously mean a lot of things. For me, I'll let Kat describe what it means for her. But for me, it means really looking at the needs of the individual. And when those needs get met, it impacts the needs of the group. And it becomes this symbiotic relationship that we are all operating and organizing in a cohesive manner.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I love the individuality piece. I'm basically saying the same thing in a different way, which I think is kind of always the truth with us. With regard to the vision, what I see there is to change the focus from external to internal, to really come to know, remember, revisit, reintegrate what's available in the design of this human. Why are you here? And what is it that you do? Because all of us have the gifts and the experiences, the wisdom, the knowledge that we've earned over time, learned, carry with us, keep over time, and employ in different lifetimes, right? And depending on what the mission is, we've designed things that are very specific. And I think the messages that we get so much of the time, culturally, socially, within our family units, all over the place, are, conform, do it this way. This doesn't exist. All those sorts of things, and none of that is helpful or true, really. We're not here to conform. We're here to uniquely be and contribute, as Angie said. And so to turn that focus inward, get to know who we are in our inner landscape, like in all the ways, the mental, the energetic, the physical, the emotional, like what's there? What do you see? What do you find? What feels good? What doesn't feel good? What do you want to keep? What do you want to get rid of? What is interesting? What do you want to follow? And when you do that, everything opens up, and the stuff that starts to show up for you is entirely different. And when you invest in that, the journey that we all end up going on is just epic and a way more exciting way to live. So, to be able to institute something that feels good, that may be challenging from time to time, but certainly not any more challenging than the other way we were trying to live, right? That feels really good and promotes like peace and fulfillment and joy and like all these things. And then on top of all of the personal benefits, the collective ends up being so much better for it too. Like, I mean, that's perfection. And nothing I could have ever imagined when I was younger. I was too busy trying to fit something that wasn't me.
Yeah, absolutely. I literally just read a chapter in a book I'm reading, I think by Abraham Hicks, that it was exactly about that, how society has pushed us to conform, and we're not meant to. We're supposed to be here doing our individual things, being very unique, and that when we lose that, we lose so much of why we're here and the joy and the experience of being here. All of our suffering comes from trying to be something else, trying to hold on to something else, or not allowing ourselves to flow. And I think I love that your company name is Current, because for me that's such a powerful word in itself, in the flow and now. So it's like, being in the flow of now and really anchoring in everything to that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was, we feel the same way about it. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Go ahead, Chi.
Yeah, I just want. So how long have you actually been doing this? Because it's also new.
It is really new. Yeah. So we met in February. I mean, we got on the phone in February. We spent a good amount of time channeling a lot of information that has illuminated. Sorry, I'm going elsewhere already. Has illuminated a path, and
They're going to be funny outtakes as the company grows. I promise you. We've recorded them all, and we will go back, and there will be like little snippets on social media that will be like, oh
I
my
love that.
God.
That's
We
a
have
good
that
idea.
from the beginning of our show. So if you watch our beginning episodes, they're horrendous.
Yeah,
so
they're
those
just
are our
awful.
outtakes. We tried to
Yeah.
script it, and we realized you can't script this stuff. You gotta flow with it. So believe me, we understand that.
You really cannot script it. No, I mean, no matter how, even when you get a whole bunch of information about something, you know, whatever insight we individually have and all the help that we receive from others who are extremely insightful, and you're like, okay, I get it, I feel it, I think I understand what we're moving into. And then with the benefit of hindsight, you're like, that's a joke, I had no idea. I mean, I had the flavor, but no idea what was actually going to happen.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
very hard.
so-
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, so since February, we've actually launched a community. And so we have a community that we are doing right now. And we also have our first course that we've launched. We started our first segment yesterday, right, Kat?
Yeah, we did.
Our first,
It was so much
yeah.
fun.
Awesome.
So
That's so
exciting.
exciting.
Thank you. Yeah,
So is
and
this
we'll
when
be
you're filming or, you know, recording, or were you guys live?
so
Class.
the class is it's a small group private thing. Like it's
Okay.
so we meet virtually to do that together, and there's
Nice.
self-study stuff and in-person like live discussion stuff that goes with that. It's a lot of fun. We're helping people to understand what they need to understand to create foundations for their own experience. The skills, the gifts, the understandings, practices, building awarenesses that help people to fully step into who they are and what they're here to do. So we're not teaching people to do what we do. We just don't think that would benefit anybody. Just really helping people, because a lot of times, especially, I mean, you guys remember, like early on, we didn't really understand what all our gifts were, right? Or that we even had any gifts sometimes. And so to be able to be a little bit further along on that journey, one of the things that I am that I have access to is seeing what others are here for. And seeing those gifts illuminated and being able to kind of help reflect back to them what it is they're doing. Because I think most of us have some inkling. We're just kind of too afraid to own it or say it. Right. So it's super helpful to have somebody say, yes, I see it, right? And live time, kind of be able to go there with you and coach you through, because I can do that, actually, coach you through what's happening so that you can embrace in the moment and see things a little bit differently. And I feel like it moves, first of all, it's fun. And aside from the fact that it's fun, it helps you move through the process with a little bit more confidence. And I think it's a nice experience. I was thinking of saying, like, does it mean you get through from where you are to where you want to be faster? I don't know. I don't know that I think that really matters, to be honest with you. Like, it's just a really enjoyable, full way to experience it. It's kind of like the experience I've had with Angie, like having that other to reflect, because I've got blind spots all over the place. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to me, like, yeah, right. I mean, I feel like almost everybody does. And to have stuff illuminated, like with love and in fun and understanding and just enjoying the journey in each of its moments. I don't know. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that about this whole thing, the learning and growing. Just like this morning has been so filled with new perspectives, man, that inspires and sparks me. And you guys are a support system to the people, because you're helping to lead them deeper into themselves, which is really the ultimate journey, because that's where everything is, everything opens up from within here. So that's beautiful support. Imagine those souls coming and like, yeah, I think I can do this lifetime, but I just need that little bit of, love and holding space for me. And then that's the energy that you guys bring in as you help them.
Yeah. And I mean, who doesn't need it? We've all had it, right? And it changes the journey entirely. It changes what shows up, what's accessible. I will tell you, in the time frame that we've been doing this work together, I feel like everything has opened up for me exponentially. Whatever I was doing before, which is also kind of every time it shifts, every time something new comes in, or there's an access point that's different, or just a different understanding or awareness about something that happens, it blows me away every single time. That is never going to get old. And I think it's not just our partnership. I think it is our partnership. I think it's the love, the support, the seeing, the sharing. I also think it's the timeline, the astrological, the design, astrology is not my bag. So I don't know how to refer to that, but I mean, how would you guys say that?
I think that was fine.
Alignment.
It's not my bad.
Yeah.
It's
just the
gonna
alignment.
be all right. Because there's so
It's
many
divine
exciting
timing.
things.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many. We're only just follow the bliss that you love, and if it's something like, oh, that's a little too mathematical or something, or just leave that and keep following the other.
I think it depends. I'm going to jump in. I think it depends a little bit, because I think we are on different timings of the timeline, and I find a lot of individuals that I know in my social circle are going through a lot of overwhelm and anxiety and chaos, and that is not my experience in this moment. My experience is very different, and so I think that it's hard to summarize, Kat, what you were alluding to, because I think that we truly are still all like stepping on rungs of the ladder, and we are where we are, and that looks very different for all of us.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because when I feel into that, you and I had conversations a few weeks ago, right? And
yes.
When actually, maybe it was a month ago, there was a period of about a week where I was getting visions of things that are very possible in the near future. And it took something to sit in, I'll say that. And then there were other awarenesses that wrote in on them. This is the first time I'm saying this. This is new for me. I have a new awareness in this moment. That the purpose of that wasn't, how do I want to say this? The purpose of that was to understand the gravity of the circumstance and what's really possible here, but to then have an overlay or be followed by the import of the where to spend the energy and how to contribute to move the needle in a meaningful way to an outcome that is more loving, I'm going to say. Yeah, highest potential. So I can understand, because I think that particular energy, whether people are consciously aware of it or not, is impacting a lot of people. And I think that especially without the awareness of what that is and who we are, and being able to recognize and understand what buckets to put everything in and what there is to do with it, and what's yours and what's not yours, that can be a tough place to stand. If that made sense.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. It does. Absolutely. So this was just coming through, and I was just like, I don't know, got to see where we can fit it in. But I think it'd be such an important part of how you guys show up and support others. But as we've kind of seen it collectively, accountability has become such a big part of the journey to inner standing. right? You got to be accountable. You got to be accountable. But accountability also has come with sort of a confrontational, abrasive vibe to it. But I feel that you two are able to hold space for compassionate accountability. And how would you speak to that?
Oh, Ange, that's you.
I love what you're saying, Bex. There's a space that it's like you said the word accountability, and my body had like this visceral response because it's really not about, for me, it's not about being accountable. It's about upholding principles and values that are with compassion, care, and love. And I use the word love very loosely. Kat and I have talked about this a lot. Actually, we're going back and trying to like find Sanskrit words. Like the word love is not only is it far overused, it's vastly misunderstood in my awareness of what it is. And the way that we use it on this plane is really conditioned. It's very much like you do what I want, you look how you give me something that fulfills me, and that feels like love, which can always lead to expectation and disappointment down the road, right? Because that's actually not what the truth of the embodiment of the divinity of love is. And I don't know that I could describe it because I don't know that we fully understand it. And I might lob it over to Kat. She's always really good at describing things that I'm bringing up conceptually. So I think that there's a space with which we work with like core principles and values that are beneficial to us, but with the awareness that we're looking out for everyone in our sphere too. It is not just about us. And I'm not saying that there even really has to be compromise, because the best solutions that we can come up with, the best inspired ideas that we are getting and downloading as a society are the ones that are actually beneficial to the whole, which then benefits the individual and vice versa, because we're working in a fractal environment on this plane. So it's all impactful. And now I'm going to lob it over to Kat.
I think we all feel the same way about that word and the vibration that it carries with it. What I would say is, again, taking the focus inward. I think if we could shift our understanding of accountability to mean, am I accounting for myself? Really kind of, what do I care about? Not what am I concerned about? Not what am I worried about? Not what do I feel like I have to do? But what do I care about? What care lives here? What do I feel drawn to, aligned with? And I think when our focus individually, each of us, is what do I care about, then for me, it's the supporter of curiosity. Like if I can be in a space of me and what is alive for me, I am, well, first of all, let's just preface this with I'm curious about everything all the time anyway, and I always have been, and I hope I always am. But then I can arrive in every circumstance with curiosity and an open heart, and not stuck here, because this isn't a navigational guide, right? It just isn't. This is the space from which we connect and access our intuition and the heart space. And if we are arriving with care about ourselves and of ourselves, and what are we curious about, I feel like we have a tendency to interact with other people. Like it promotes that interaction with other people as well. And when I arrive with a curiosity and a care, then I'm going to see in you entirely different things. And I'm going to interact with you in a very different way as well. And if everything is an exploration and an adventure, which is how I like everything to be, then our time together, our interaction together, if I'm passing you on the street, or if we're talking together, if we're doing intentional, deeper work together, whatever it is we're doing together is going to be enlivened with that spirit of adventure, curiosity, support, care. And when that's how you arrive, you don't end up with something that feels like this.
Mhm.
You end up with something that is fun. And what ends up happening, it's like when I feel like when I really am showing up in alignment, everything is about me and nothing is about me all at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
It's that beautiful swirl of, I'm curious about you because you're curious about me, because I'm curious about you because you're curious about me. I love you because you love me, because I can love me differently because you're showing up with love, which allows me then to love you differently, which allows me to love me differently. Like it's that sharing that it's unity consciousness, right? That's what that is at its core. But it's not simple. It sounds simple, and in my opinion, it's for human beings. I don't think that is simple. I think it's putting practices in place and building awarenesses and learning and connecting with yourself and your knowledge and developing the connectivity you have with intuition, guides, all those things, because we all come here with that stuff. And it is necessary. Those are our guidance systems, right? This, our head, not our guidance system. And if that's what you're using as a guidance system, that's when you end up with the ideas that initially sound like they're fantastic, but end up feeling just kind of to everybody, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's how I
Good
would say it.
stuff, Kat.
Yeah,
Good
that was
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So, do you guys have something experiential you would like to share with our audience today?
Angie brought something amazing. Can I say something about it?
Yeah.
So kind of, this is perfect timing. Imagine that. Kind of in the vein of what we were just talking about. One of the skills that I think is one of the most important things to develop, we think is one of the most important things to develop here on this plane, is being able to quiet the head, the mind, right? Being able to get out of this space so that you can hear and investigate what else is available. And that's something that I don't know that anybody is just good at like that. I've never met anybody who is, and I certainly wasn't. I've developed a certain amount of skill there, but it's been over a lot of time and with a lot of different exposures and practices and whatnot. And I was talking to Angie about this the other day, actually, and she said she always does this. The scientific knowledge and I don't know, the structure and the practices that she brings in addition to all of the access to the other realms and intuitions is mind-boggling to me. But she was like, well, hey, there's this simple thing that you do. And when you do it, your mind stops. And I was like, do tell.
So along those lines, I guess I know intuitively a lot about human design. I'm actually a mental projector, so a lot of my realm comes from this space. It's kind of I've kind of lived up here, and there's a lot going on, right? And I don't think that I'm unique when I say that. Like I think there's a lot going on up here. I would speak to this area as like the data center. There are energetic, we actually have like magnetized energetics that are scientifically, they can be scanned now in our body, but like our head is one and our heart space is one. This is actually referred to in human design as the magnetic monopole. And it really, I love that descriptor because if you think about how we can magnetize things to us, right? A lot of people talk about manifestation. I feel like that's an outward force. And when we start working our energetics into magnetization, it creates a different space and it creates a space with flow and ease and structure. I think all of those things belong together for creation to actually stand the test of time. That's what I will say. You can do all of those things independently, but it's not likely to last in that way. So, I guess, Kat, do you want to ask the question or do you want me to ask the question? We were going to ask the audience a question.
You ask it, because to be completely honest, I can't remember what it is right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I would like you just to take a moment, take a breath real quick so we can kind of get centered energetically. And I'd like you to identify something that is an obstacle between where you are and where you want to be. And then I'm going to ask you to stop thinking about that thing. Ready? Stop. How many of you did it? Oh, no, I don't think anyone stopped.
As soon as you said stop, my brain's like, no, get back in there. What are you doing?
Yeah, right? It's kind of trickery on my part, because when you say stop, like your brain wants to do it more. Okay, so I want you to think of the same question I just asked. And what we're going to do, instead of me saying stop, you'll probably have this in your mind already. I'd like you to put your hands in prayer pose. And I would like you to just, like, you guys know the steeple thing, like put your fingers down. You're going to go back and forth. And what this does is it actually crosses the meridian lines in your body, and it creates 0 point energy. Your brain has to stop thinking. It is an impossibility for you to think when you do this process. It actually puts you into the parasympathetic nervous system, and it is something that you can do anywhere that is unobtrusive, and it is a great exercise for when your mind will not shut up when you're trying to go to bed at night.
Wow. It's making me feel tingly all down the back of my neck.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yay! So simple exercise.
Wow.
What's alive for me around that too, as I'm feeling that is,
Uh-oh.
That was a big, powerful
It was like
coming through.
Yeah. She broke the airwaves.
She did. This happens sometimes.
but now you guys came back. My video went out for a second, I think.
We missed you, yeah.
It's a great exercise for like helping us figure out initially when we're developing intuitive skills, like, is that my head? You know what I mean? Like, is that like when you do this and the brain stops, but you're still receiving? I love that. I love that idea. Yeah, I love that idea. So to help you build awarenesses in the skill building, I really like that. She's got a million of these things. It's astounding.
That awareness that you just brought through about that, it's still being receptive, like it, it does, it quiets the human filter, right? So you can have pure receptivity. So you're not feeling like you have to kind of process everything. You're just in that state. I love that, because that makes whatever coming through, there's no doubt there. There's no human mind trying to grip it. It just is. That's awesome.
No
love
human
that.
mind trying to rip it. I love the way you said that.
That is so cool. Wow, you guys, that's awesome. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun hanging out today.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, this is always fun. I love you guys.
Oh, so many powerful insights coming through and awarenesses, and our audience is loving this. This has been so much fun. So I guess we should get to, how can they find you? Where can they find you? When can they find you?
And?
Go ahead, Kat. You're up.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not my area. Let her rip. So we have a community on Mighty Networks called Current that we would love for everyone to join. We meet there, and it's just creating community, literally like a hive, to get together and share. We have events there. We talk about things. We interact. We are hosting workshops and doing things of that nature. So a lot of really cool stuff there. I think we mentioned that we launched a course called Foundations. We'll have another segment, another session starting in December, I believe, beginning of December.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to add. The offering is going to be expanding. There some really, really cool stuff. I guess what I want to say about the course is, did we already talk about what it was for? We did, didn't we?
kind of briefly. I
Right.
I think you're going. I'm sensing you're going somewhere else. Just to
Yeah.
I think that it's a fabulous way to build community, come together with like-minded people who are on the same journey, and also really come to embody yourself, to build the foundations that are necessary. And they're deep. It's not just basic foundation. To build the foundations that are necessary to fully embrace yourself and your journey, so that you can get to the point where you don't need other people to, and we always need others to help us reflect, right? But a lot of us are sitting in the place right now where there's no access to anything, where we're not hearing our guides, we're not using our intuition, our connectivity. We kind of feel alone and lost in the dark. I think a lot of people do. And it's building those skill sets that you do have, so that you can do what you need to, so that you can navigate, so that you can access yourself, instead of needing to
Yes.
really kind of like pay other people all the time to help you figure out the stuff that I promise you do have access to. And that's important to us, is to be able to help people to fully embody what's available to them and their unique journeys, so that we're creating really kind of a plethora of individuality and care moving out into the world, and really impacting in a positive way what's happening. So really hope you guys will join us there. Check it out. You can contact us also directly on Facebook if you want to talk to us, or if you have questions about something. What am I leaving out, Ange?
Okay, I have one more. So I think in maybe the end of November, the beginning of December, we're actually launching our podcast. So
yeah.
you can get access to us weekly. All of this like lovely just chat time, really. But it's our favorite thing to do, is to
Right.
explore and play and be in the space of community doing it.
Yeah. We do spend, like we've done here, like honestly, this is what we always do with you guys, and that's why I love hanging with you guys. It is always an exploration of like just what's coming through, what's possible in this current, I'm going to say it, space,
Yeah.
right? In the current and the current space, what's showing up, what is available in this spot on the spiral of time that wasn't before, because it changes all the time. And it's the adventure into that space, which is my favorite thing in the world.
You two definitely hold space for infinite possibilities. I appreciate that so much. Love it. So the podcast is called Current.
Yes.
Right? So you guys want to check that out at you said the beginning or end of November, beginning of December, right? On anywhere you can find podcasts.
Yeah, we're actually going to be syndicated, so we're rolling out to I think he
Wow.
said 20 plus networks is what we're
That's
where we're going to be.
amazing. Congratulations.
Cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
We're excited. We're excited.
That is so. We can't wait to hear more about that. That is very cool. Congratulations. And so now we're going to get to the tough questions, because you guys have soared through this, this awesome conversation. So the tough questions are coming. So here's the first one. And you guys, let's do Kat first, then Angie. So the first question is, if you had to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would that be?
Okay, so this is such an odd answer. I feel like I should apologize for it.
Don't let her. Don't let her.
God, I'm embarrassed a little bit. I'm gonna be completely honest. And don't judge it. Let me explain it. Okay, don't judge it immediately. Let me explain it. So Pat Benatar, "Hell is for Children," is kind of what comes to my mind. And it's the idea that all of us come here and I think struggle in the early parts of our life. We arrive here connected and engaged, and everything and everyone around us kind of works to disconnect and disengage all the things that really matter. And there's huge import in that as well, right? All those experiences, this is the good part. Like all those experiences are necessary for our journey. And I think that it's important to remember that nothing is ever accidental or coincidental. And all of those difficult experiences or challenging experiences, and I think half the time they're challenging just because we don't have the, what do you call it? The framework or the understanding, the savvy really to put things into perspective and address them or work within them the way that we later will. So it's the idea that the early part of your life is going to have trials, tribulations, and challenges, not that your later part never will, but that you come to a place and those things come into beautiful alignment when we do what we're here to do, and we fully embrace who we are and our journey. And all of that turns into, using Teresa's analogy earlier, a beautiful flower that can bloom because of the challenge that was earlier. So that was my answer.
I'm gonna do this.
Cool.
Yay!
That was a good one.
So my song is just a lot less of all of that, and it is just hardcore fun. It is I Got a Feeling from the Black Eyed Peas, and that is like just, I can just saying it like I'm sitting in it and I just want to bop around and I'm there.
I can hear it.
It's such a fun song. It is. It's such a fun, and you can't be in a bad mood and listen to that song. Like, it just pumps you up. It's a hype song. Absolutely. Love that.
I love it. Yeah.
Good choices. Okay, second question. What is your favorite crystal that you are working with right now?
So I'm going to say two things, kind of. I don't know a lot about crystals. And I would say also that in a strange kind of way, that's true about most of the planet. I kind of come at things, I learned by accident, or not by accident. I've learned over time that having no 3D knowledge of the thing I'm going to interact with ends up being extremely helpful, so that nothing gets in my way. There's no expectation or whatnot. So I can't speak to this the way most people can. What I can say is that everything I need always shows up, literally always shows up. And I will tell you that there's rose quartz popping out of the ground in my backyard.
Wow.
And in my front yard, actually. It's all over the place. And so I'm going to choose that because it is working with me, and I clearly am working with it also, but there isn't always the conscious awareness of that.
Right.
Wow,
That's cool. Very cool.
So funny enough, like this question I struggle with a little bit. I feel like I too am not, like, I don't really work with crystals very much. But before we got live, I was talking with Teresa. She gave me like the best insight. So I want to thank you. I actually collect rocks, like raw rocks in nature. And I just realized that like those are what I would consider my beloved crystals. So I'm going to say I work with rocks.
That's perfect.
That's beautiful.
Perfect.
Yes.
They all are made up of different minerals and things that, you know, support you in whatever way that, you know, you're drawn to them for a reason. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So thank you, Teresa, because I would have never put those two things together had we not spoken.
That's awesome. Okay. And the third and final question. Have you ever experienced extra dimensional intelligence, meaning UFOs, visitations, or things like that?
Oh, heck yeah. Okay, can I tell a couple stories?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first time I ever did was with Rhonda. Yeah, we were in Shasta, Mount Shasta, in 2020, and she was guiding a group of us to the connectivity. What we experienced there was absolutely amazing. It was they were all over the place. I don't remember ever seeing them in this lifetime. They were shooting across the sky at ridiculous speeds, changing directions, flashing colors upon her request, which was super cool.
Isn't that neat?
It was super cool. Katie, so there's a Katie story, so I'm not going to tell it. I'll let Katie tell it. But there was an experience that we had there that revolved around something very personal for Katie that was mind-blowing. I think all of us were in tears within like 5 seconds. And so there's all of that. That was when it opened up for me. I will say since then, oh, and of course, okay. So before I went to Shasta in the summer, this past summer, I don't remember when it was. Maybe it was summertime. I'm sorry. I don't keep track of time well. What people would call a UFO or whatever, like shot down in front of my car window and went down my street. And I had the strangest, it would be so fun to get together just to talk about this. I could talk about this for a long time. And just, I think 2 days ago, I was driving down a different street really close to that one. The first one was green, and this one was red, also shot across my windshield. But then we went to Big Bear in, okay, I was watching a documentary.
Right, California, Big Bear?
Yes, yeah, Big Bear, California.
I've been there.
I was watching a documentary this summer, and as part of the documentary, somebody had captured on film an extra dimensional at an event where they were calling them in, and I recognized who he was. That's all I can say. And I became aware that I was going to be interacting with him. And then I had shortly thereafter an opportunity to plan a trip to Big Bear for an extra dimensional event. And so we went, and the event started, and I immediately left, which I do all the time, but I left and went someplace else. I can't tell you where I went. I can tell you some things about it, but not like very specific things. I left and went someplace else, and then, which I've done a lot, and then I come back, right? And there's an awareness that I've gone somewhere. But what was cool about this one was I am completely positive I was like brought back because I was laying on the ground on a blanket, and I heard there was no one moving anywhere around me. Everybody was in a laying prone in the area. There was no one anywhere around us walking. Nobody was moving at all. And I heard the footsteps of who I've come to, I call him TD. I heard his footsteps right behind my head, and he touched my head. And it was his way of kind of like confirming, bringing me back, grounding me in, and confirming, yes, this was real. We're working on healing. He's helping me with healing devices and information, understandings in a that will be coming into practice pretty soon. I'm done.
That's amazing.
Wow, I love all that.
Yeah, mind-boggling to me.
Wow.
Right on.
This is not an area that I've really had a whole lot of experience with. This year, actually, I guess I was in Sedona, and we had done kind of like an ED calling in. I didn't really see anything, but that night when I went to bed, I actually got into a dreamlike state that I was not in a dream. And I looked down, and my hand was not my hand, and it was rubbing my belly, and it was the hand of an alien or an extraterrestrial or an extra dimensional. I don't really even know what the appropriate term is. This is how unaware I am of this arena. But it was just very lovingly just being present with me, and it was a really very interesting experience, and not something that I've really ever shared with many people. So
that is so cool.
That's exciting, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I love that you could tell that it was loving right away, because I think if I saw that, if I had just been right in the human mind, I'd have been like, oh my God, like freaking out. But you were able to just, bypass that and just, be in it. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's that state that you get into that's like your human is not as much there. Right. And so it was, yeah, so it was like easier. And then the next morning I kind of did wake up, and I was like, oh my God, like what happened last night?
That is so cool. I love that. Wow, well, this has been awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, and we will definitely have you guys back, and keep us updated on how things are going and what you're doing, because you guys are really this is going to be huge what you guys are bringing through, and we're honored to be able to be a part of that journey, just even as observers or whatever. It's awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you so much for having us. This is so amazing, and I just the energy that you guys show up with is it's just fun to be in. So and thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just have to share our winner real quick, and our winner of last week's Share It Out is the amazing Mandy B. So congratulations, you get the Egyptian Soul Spa meditation. I'll be getting that to you soon. And next week, yeah, awesome, right? Next week, we will not be live. It's pre-recorded, but we have an awesome episode. It's with Jim Harold, who is the OG of Paranormal Podcast. So he will be bringing through some pretty cool spooky stories for our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So you don't want to miss it. That was so much fun to record. So we will not be live, but we will show up in the comments. We'll watch with you guys too. So have a beautiful, blessed week. We love you all so much. Thank you for hanging out, and we will see you soon. So let me cut to the outro. I miss Rhonda right now. She knows how to do all this stuff. All right, here we go.